Hello, hello. All right. Okay. Hopefully, I am on here. And used to be so easy to go live on Facebook, and now they have all these steps that you need to go through. So here I am, and hopefully, I'm live in the private group, Woman Fully Alive. So, hello. I'm Madeline, and I'm for those of you of the over 4,000 of us in this group. If I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, welcome, welcome. I have a very powerful realization this morning that comes about, I mean, probably after years of reflection. Um, so I want to share a couple of things that led me to jump on live here today. And the first thing is that I've realized throughout all the threads of my life and all the places that I show up, which is as a counselor, online on my YouTube channel, and I also do a lot of work at a chronic pain clinic and research center. All of those places, the people that I work with are women who are very intuitive slash sensitive nervous systems, who are incredibly creative and have big hearts, and often have this big yearning to share something in the world, to do something more in the world. But yet their bodies, their nervous systems seem to be working against them. So a lot of fatigue, a lot of pain, and conditions. And I know what this is like. Well, I know my own experience. A number of years back, after having worked as a trauma therapist for many, many years, and I found myself in a place, it was actually just before COVID, where I was extremely tired. And so the body gets tired and the mind goes, "Why are you so tired?" And in retrospect, there was a pretty good reason for it. And in fact, the question should have been, why am I not more tired? And why was I not noticing my tiredness 10 years before that? But we've become very conditioned in how we live our lives to ignore what we feel, to ignore our bodies. And for a sensitive person, for an empath who is highly attuned emotionally, like you probably are, if we don't know how to move through and work with this type of energy, it's very depleting. It's very worrying. And, frankly, a lot of the time we just want to be out of our body because it's very exhausting, or just go to sleep and, forget the whole world, or just, wish that everybody would just leave me alone. And so that was when I realized that there was this thing called an empath. And everything that I read, every test that I took, online surveys, I scored like 100% on every single one. And me being in the field, I hadn't realized that I live in the world, that I perceive the world differently. And it took some time to really realize the steps to the healing process, because I knew where I was, as you might know yourself if you're tuning in. I knew where I was not where I wanted to be, and it wasn't going to be sustainable. And also I knew that there had to be a key, there had to be a way out. So often empaths go through their lives as like a deer in the headlights. So really focused on perhaps other people, what other people think of them, like really aware of the outside world and always taking in that external information. Who needs me, people pleasing, Often we've been trained to like look good on the outside when you feel like you're falling apart inside. And like Glennon Doyle says, you're a feeling person in a messy world. You are not a mess, even though you might feel that way sometimes. So share two personal stories that happened over this last weekend. One was that I arrived at a place that I love most in the world, which is our little cabin on the Shuswap Lake. And it's very quiet there. It's very rustic. And I drove up there on a Friday night. The sun was just setting. And I looked out on the lake, and along the shore, there were about 5 deer. And the deer were walking in the water, and they were drinking the water, and just very slowly, as they probably have done for thousands of years. They knew exactly why they were there, and they were in tune. They're aligned within their body. Now, this might seem like a silly story, but stay with me. Anytime I moved a foot, or I made a noise of some kind, the ears would perk up and look around. And what I realized in that moment, that being a deer in that environment, not a deer in the headlights. Like if I had ran down there, they would be a deer in the headlights because they'd be attuned to the threat. But when there is no threat, they have radar like this. And they're picking up on the water, the fact that they feel thirsty inside, the sound, the smells. Their ears are up, their noses are aware, and their eyes are only one part of that picture. They feel the water, they feel the wind, they sniff for any new scents in the air. And I was mesmerized, and I'll tell you why. Because that can be the life of an attuned empath. But we're often stuck like a deer in the headlights, focused on the threat, focused on the mean person, focused on the fear. But when we learn to expand beyond that, we become these tuning forks. And a tuning fork, is such a blessing. A tuning fork feels the sunrise, right? It feels other people. It knows their joy. It knows their pain. It tastes chocolate. It hears beautiful music. It knows beauty when it sees it. And that is what an empath, the experience of an empath, can be like, beyond the deer in the headlights. Because when you're a deer in the headlights all the time, your nervous system is ramped up, you're often anxious or tired or depressed or in pain. And you're also, if you think about the deer, you're a prey. You're in a state of living in this world as prey to other people as opposed to power. And what I mean by prey is not that you'll be eaten alive, although it feels like that if you have any people that are kind of narcissistic in your life. But you are subject to the outside world determining how your day goes. And that is my definition of prey. And so that was my first experience. That's it. That's where we're going here. Then I had a conversation with someone, a younger person, a woman, and I had her permission to share this because we had a conversation. It was really, really interesting. We were talking about how she, this wasn't a client, it was just a conversation. She hates her job. She just finds it really overwhelming. All the people that work in her office, and they work with some kids that have a lot of troubles. And I said, well, you really need to find the strength to apply for other jobs, because that environment for an empath, at least an empath that hasn't healed yet, is a really unsafe place for a nervous system to actually be able to heal. And then, I mean, by all means, heal and then go back in there strong. But I said, you need to get out there. You need to go and ask people and interview other places. And here's what she said to me. She said, I don't know if I could ever do that. I'm an empath. And I just went, bing, bingo. What? So as we move through this path, be mindful that you can use I'm an empath as an excuse. And that's not going to fly for your health and for your happiness. I can't possibly go to the mall. I'm an empath. I can't possibly, stand up to that person. I'm an empath. Nope, no more. We are not being victims of being the label empath. If that's you, there's no judgment here, but I want you to know that there are skills to be able to become this tuning fork, this as opposed to a deer in the headlights. Now, there's a whole range of, we've been very attuned to living in our heads, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, how we should be, how we shouldn't be, obligations, guilt, all of that. Part of this journey is really just like that deer, moving into your body, lower into your body. And the healing of an empath really starts with the grounding, the safety, and then being able to digest emotional experiences that have accumulated in your body, in your belly, in your womb. And from there, you can move up to your solar plexus, or not you can, you will move up to your solar plexus, which is the seat of your power. From there, heart, your open heart, but now you're grounded. You're not just a heart that's floating around, giving yourself out to everybody else except for you, which is what often happens. Move up to your voice, and then up to your ascension, your spiritual side of being an empath. We've been doing it the wrong way around. And I mean, I have bookshelves of books about this. I have spent money on self-development, on healing practices, on all kinds of things. And it's all been wonderful. And I feel like there's a missing piece here. So that's what brought me on here today. We want to move from prey to power now. We want to move out of the old straitjacket or the old tight suit that we've been wearing. We want to stop fixing who we are as an empath, trying to fix our personalities as if we're a problem. And we want to step right out of that. We want to transform now into something that's at a much higher level. Now, if you notice that deer, he's not thinking, I got to look around. I've got to stop doing this like deer in the headlights thing. And, there's something wrong with me. No, he's like, this is my natural state. And I'm going to be it now. Nervous system healing, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Those shifts take time to actually download, to manifest in your body. But at the same time, you can also step into the cold shower today. I used to think, no, I don't, my body, I get cold really fast. I couldn't possibly do cold showers. Of course I can. I take a cold shower every day now. Like, what I'm sensing from empaths is that we want this change now. We don't want to wait forever. We're ready. And believe me, the world is so ready for us. Well, they don't always think they're ready, but the world needs us. So I am looking now at quantum shifts. I am looking at stepping out of that old mold of fixing into transformation in, what I call the quantum field. So stepping into a place, because I guarantee you that most people on this earth are only doing 1/100th of the things that they could be moving into. I know that included me, and it probably includes you. So there's a few things I've got in the works right now. One is my Sacred Rage salons. And this is a gathering where we move through that, not only, what anger might be protecting us from, but we move into that energy of aliveness. Not harming, not violence, but that energy of aliveness on that continuum. The other offering I have right now is some womb healing and clearing classes, groups, sessions. And this is where we do some deep transformational breathing into our bellies that hold a lot of grief and loss from perhaps our own lives, anger, sadness, perhaps our own lives, but also past generations that get passed on to us. It's super deep and it's super healing. Something I wanted to say about that, about the womb healing. Yeah, clearing out all that old energy so that you can once again find that fire and that magic in your belly to have a really good belly laugh. We don't do that when we're scared. We often don't do that when we're sad. But it's all part of this coming alive. Next week, I'm going to be doing a video interview discussion. It's going to be fun with my husband, who I work with, my partner, Mark. I work with him at this chronic pain clinic. We teach together. He's a chronic pain physician, and he comes from the science of the background of a centrally sensitized nervous system. And I, of course, come from the background of emotional healing. So it's going to be a very potent conversation. And I'll make sure that I post the links in this group. The very last thing I want to tell you guys about today, I invite you to try one of my groups. We're going to elevate. We're going to transform. We got to get our shit going here, because I can feel the aliveness that's starting to happen. And, if you're ready for that, then join me in one of my programs. These individual classes are $44. And I also have a 1-month, the Quantum Empath course coming up. We're going to move through the month of October. We're going to end on Halloween, October 31st, which is a really special, historically, celebration for women. And that's going to be like a kick-ass empath container where I will not only lead you through transformation, through healing, but also accessing that quantum field, that quantum part of yourself where all things are possible for you. It's really, really powerful, because that's where I'm living now. That's where I am, every day. I no longer get crushed by fear. I realize this, you guys. I realized this recently. I no longer give a shit about what people say about me. That's pretty amazing, considering I lived most of my life worried to death about it. So it requires courage, and I realize that, and I will be there for you through that month. But I will also hold you accountable. So I will always empathize and support you, but I will never buy into the part of you that feels like you're a victim because you're an empath. That part is going. The damsel in distress who feels kind of helpless and can't possibly do that, that part, that archetype is leaving the planet. And what will be left will be the empowered empath, the diva in you who knows what she's entitled to, who's not afraid to speak her truth, who knows her worth, knows her value, and from there creates and serves in a way beyond her wildest dreams. So that's my message for you today. I just got a whole group of crows that gathered on my lawn outside here. They're gathering, singing the song of the Quantum Empath in you. So I can't see where I am on Facebook here, if there's any comments or, all right. So if this, the first step would be, I'm going to post a link to the Emotional Empath test, the survey, to see if these programs even, if they are a fit for you or not. And then I'll be posting the other opportunities, the other offers in the group as well. So lots of love to all of you. Thank you if you're watching or joining me for this spontaneous, spur of the moment video this morning. And I really hope that you'll join me in this path, because after decades of healing, I feel like now we're ready to step into that next phase, that all-empowered empath, that tuning fork, where feeling and deeply feeling becomes such a gift. I am so grateful now to be an empath. What I get to feel in a day, that is what makes us human. When I'm in nature, I just absorb it. Those are the experiences that we can have. And a powerful tuning fork tunes into people, sees the truth. Am I right? Like, you can see other people's truths, and sometimes before they even know it, and help other people at a quantum level. There's no other word for it. So, okay. Find your fire today. Find what lights you up. Find your passion. Move towards it. If you can, have a belly laugh. And if you can't, you can't. There's no forcing here. There's only allowing, letting go of the heavy, dense energies. And when we do that in a sacred rage salon, we naturally start to lift. And that's where we begin. And that's where the process starts. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And then I hope to connect with you along this amazing journey. Bye for now.